Well, I just had a moment of pure inspiration. Oh, it's very dim. Wait on. So I just had a moment of pure inspiration, and I thought I need to say this. Now, I woke up about an hour ago, and I've just been playing a bit of guitar, and it's now like 6:25 in the AM. And I'll be honest, this is going to get my best work done now, but I have to be quiet because it's so early and I'm in a hotel. But I was just thinking of a conversation I had with Chris last night, and I said, or the other night, and I was like, Chris, I've really enjoyed, I really value your opinion. And when we go guitar shopping, you tend to spot things that I'm not looking for. Now, I was very impressed with guitars called Jet. They were definitely like a potential for me to buy. And on the way in, I was more inclined to support a new brand like Jet than buy a Squire, which frankly are boring us all to death. They're boring us all to death on YouTube. And I was more inclined to get a Jet, and like I was really amazed with their value for money and their snappy design and their love of doing proper stuff, like traditional stuff. So you can get a Strat with a humbucker and a single coil, and the direct mounted pickups, no scratch plate, and it's like maple cap and like torrified maple, and it's all Wilkinson stuff, right? Everything's Wilkinson, and like I was really like into that, and the prices are really competitive, and but Chris was, one look, and he wasn't taken in by it at all, and he was like, oh my goodness, and the fret ends were terrible. They were the worst fret ends on any guitar in that store, and bear in mind that a quart that's 139 quid brand new for a sort of Stratocaster style guitar. It's not a Strat copy, it's a shape of its own. But the quart that was less than 140 quid brand new was impeccable. There was not a fault on it, okay? So there's no excuse. And I just got to thinking, wouldn't it be really good, because it's like, I look at it as a sign of love, right? Jet, really could be something that we all could support as a cheap brand. And Harley Benton, like, I'm listening to Malco very carefully, because like they've been like 50-50 for me. The guitars anyway have been 50-50 for me. Some have been like terrible, and others have been like, well, how on earth are they doing this for the money? And you can't criticize anything. The quality of the construction is impeccable on them. But then I've picked up others where the quality of construction has not been, and they've been, a step up from Glary, and I have no regard for Glary, none. I kind of like, because knowing that for the same money you can go and get a second-hand Encore, right, which I think is miles ahead. Like some of those Glaries, and there's another one as well, is it Fasley, and it's, oh my goodness, like how bad they are. Like, everything, nothing is lined up, like none of the control surfaces. Like, I was really shocked at how, because again at first, I will support anyone trying to make a cheap entry-level instrument that's real. And then you got Squire, right? And I hate to go on about this. I hate to fucking fly their flag, really, because they're so big, they don't need my help. But like this, which I'm playing right now, okay? Let me see, I've got the rig going. I feel like this was made with love and pride. Even though they're doing it in such numbers. The quality of this, right? Now, I'll do... So people made comments about the neck, like the satin neck, not being like the satin neck of his FGN. So we know what we're talking about. Excellent channel. Well, you know, like I've got to disagree. Like the neck on this and the Jazzmaster, at least. And this is a 200 quid guitar. The Jazzmaster is like a 350 quid guitar, so that's a bit different. But this is a 200 quid guitar, right? You can go and get one of these for 200 quid anywhere in day of the week. And like, no, like, I know what you mean. The satin neck on the Affinity Stratocaster that was like a 230 quid starter pack, and the neck on one of them was like, and I know what you mean. If you expect there to be like really fine sawdust on your hand when you take it away, it just feels like it wasn't finished, right? But then on the blue one, which had a maple board, that was similar to this. And this is exactly what you get on an Ibanez or an LTD, you know, that slippery satin finish. And the fret edging, it's just like lovely. It would pass the balloon test or the condom test or the cling film test or whatever you want to use, or the tissue test. And, you know, like there's no discernible fit, you know, the smoothness of fretboard and neck, and come on, how often did Gibson get that one bad? How often? Like, seriously, a Gibson of any age, you can go right back and all the way to now and at any price point. How often do you find Gibson where you can feel the fretboard joining the neck, right? Well, you can't on either of these Squires. Everything is finished to such a high standard. You know, this feels like a guitar that was made for me, and they were like, I'll tell you what, Tim, we're gonna like, you know, we can't do it for 50 quid, mate, but if you give us a couple of £100, you know, we'll give you the best sort of Fender-like guitar we can. And here you are. And I would take that if it was off of one person that made it. Like if it was like a Ben Crow that actually had like any moral fibre and interest as a luthier. But let's say it was a small cottage industry like Ben Crow, Crimson Guitars, wanker. And he said, here, I've done you this for 200 quid. How the hell did you do that? How the hell did you do that? And I would be full of praise. I'd be like, this is £1,000. If this was like, if this had Crimson Guitars on the headstock, I'd be like, this is £1,000 guitar. How did you do this for 200 quid? Hate to use them as an example, by the way. I don't want to keep bringing them up because it's negative. I don't want negative. So I'm going to have to think of like, can anyone suggest a similar cottage industry, like guitar builder in the comments, so I don't have to keep quoting fucking Crimson. That's how it feels. And it got me thinking, you know, I want Jet to exist properly. I want guitars where there's people like us in the mix, looking at the design and the specification and the quality control. Those are the three key areas, and let a guitar builder that exists already do the rest. Or, you know, maybe with a new brand. So I was thinking, like, let's say Fret King was Squire, like Fret King were Fender, like do a Squire version of the Fret King, because Fret King are kind of what I'm talking about, but they're more into real money, but they're still guitars that could easily be like twice the price tag, like no bullshit. You know, it's like, I hate to say it, but like, you know, Ernie Ball I put on such a high plateau, but they're sort of in that, they're going in that direction, in that range, but for, you know, you're talking sort of 500 quids and things like that, rather than 1500 quids. I think it would be easy, knowing that, like, you know, a friend of mine did BMX parts under the name of Proper, and like it was very easy company. Everything was made in China, like, you know, and it was specified over here, and you know, do you know what I mean? It was quite easy to put together. He's not like a multi-millionaire as such. Knowing how easy that was, is it possible to put a guitar brand together so that can actually be done? And actually compete with the likes of Fasley and fucking Glary, and completely grab, you know, and Harley Benton, completely grab that bottom end of the market for people like us. So because this is the thing that for me qualifies as a real guitar, okay? Not a beginner guitar, a real guitar. And I'm going to use this as an example, and I'll grab something. I'll grab a couple of other things as well. Now, this is a cheap guitar, but this could be your first guitar, and you could just say, to hell with it, this is going to be my last guitar, and only ever play this, and no one will criticise you, and you wouldn't be doing yourself out. I think, of course, you should play everything you can possibly pick up. I mean that. Anything that you can possibly have a go on, I totally think you should have a go on it. I think it's so important. It gives you so much of a better understanding of things. It's like if you're in a band and you play guitar, I beg you, learn to play a bit of just really basic drums. Don't say, oh, I want to become a drummer. Just ask of yourself very little. I want to learn how to just put down a basic beat and see if I can hold time. Learn that. Learn a bit of real bass playing. Learn a little bit of like what it takes to be a frontman on a mic with nothing else, right? Those three things will give you so much inspiration as a guitar player when you understand the roles of the other members of your band. It will give you something as a guitar player, trust me. Anyway, going off topic. So a first guitar that's your last. This could easily construe. For me, like I could just have this and I'd be perfectly satisfied, and I don't think I'd be losing out anything, It would probably get upgraded as time went on. I think I'd probably put, like, in particular, I think in this, I would, if this was my only guitar, I'd put something like, Black Winter sort of thing, or one of those ridiculous bare knuckle pickups. The one that's like the one that's two hot rails put together. What's it called? Never mind. But like, I would probably put like a heavy metal, bright, punchy humbucker in there, right? Like a thrash sort of, a proper metal focus pickup. And that would be the only thing I'd do. Probably that, that's what I'd do to it. That, like, as far as really important upgrades, that's as far as I'd go. But the fact is that, okay, this could be your first real guitar where, like, you bought a fucking Glary Strat or an Encore Strat. Get back to the Encore. Now that's the thing there, right? That's what I'll get back to that. And you want to sort of enter into the world of real guitars. You want something with two humbuckers, and this is the first foray into something else. Guitars at this price point afford that, and I myself would rather have 5 guitars of this quality for $1,000 and get all different things to live with and learn those sounds and characteristics than have like one US built Fender for $1,000. Not that I could even get that. Well, I think you can actually. Or for that matter, even like a new Japanese one for $1,000, which they are. I was quite shocked at that because, well, I'm not going to go into that now. But yeah, I'd rather have 5 Squiers than a Fender right now because they're right across the range. They're all equilaterally hit and miss in my book. There's some really good ones there, and there's some that are like, I mean, I told you about that Squier thin line, which shows you that you can't just say, oh, Tim loves Squier, I'm going to get a Squier. It's not as simple as that, absolutely not. Because I looked at the thin line, Telly thin line, which had the broad range pickups in it, because I'm all in with the 2 humbucker Telly. I've got like 2. I was wondering if it was a 3rd then, but like no, I think it's because I almost did. And I'm definitely gonna like, that's something of all the guitars that exist, the thing I'm probably going to end up with a few of, because it's just me, is Telecasters with humbuckers. And I'm even thinking that I'm going to maybe change my live guitars from my LTDs to this, but we'll see, to Tellys with 2 humbuckers. So if I was doing a gig tomorrow, it'd be this and the orange Nitro, which is a hell of a guitar, that Nitro. The videos I did of Blacktooth Fox's Sonic Armory, and at the time I had 12 guitars, and I did each guitar in series. That I'm really pleased with that, and I'm going to do that again at some point. But the fucking Nitro, knowing that was before I got like a stock of strings from my lovely bloody friend Clements, from Germany, who's just the most wonderful chap. Like, it had like a fucking old acoustic string on the A, and you know, it was like it was kept running. The strings were completely shit, and yeah, it sounds pretty fucking banging in that video still. You know, anyway, like, so this is the thing, a real guitar from a fake one. Now, going back to that Glary and Encore Strat, so say that was your first guitar and this was your second. The difference there is you keep the Encore Strat because that's your Strat. The Glary Strat, this would replace. That's the difference. Like, you know, the Encore would augment your collection, the Glary would be upgraded and replaced. There's no point, you know, I don't see the point in going that cheap. With Harley Benton, I'm more open-minded because Mark James, bless him, awesome fucking dude, great supporter of the studio. He has a Harley Benton, which is a 2 humbucker telly actually, and they're like I think they're 89 quid. And I couldn't knock a hole. I couldn't believe it. Like, that was pretty damn good. Actually usable. Everything was lined up. You know, no fucking... nothing that stuck out as negative and bad. I didn't like that they'd painted the neck the way they did, and the neck was very cheaply constructed, but it was well constructed. It was cheaply made, but well made, if you understand what I mean. In the same way as you can buy, like, you know, a set of drawers from IKEA, and they're solidly built, or something. I don't know. So another one. So I paid 60 quid for this, okay? The PV Raptor. This is a guitar for life. Like, I've just been thinking about, like, am I going to leave my Axel Strat as an old Strat, or am I going to put the humbucker in the bridge, which it really kind of really screams for, you know? And either or, but I do want to get a simple red Stratocaster at some point, 50s wired and of some kind. But I think in the meantime, I'm absolutely happy with enough with this as my, you know, 3 single coil Strat. I don't feel like I need to run out and get something else. I think what I would like to do is, like, get something like an Affinity a Squire Affinity Telecaster that's got the 2 fulcrum trem. So I've got the floating trem of that style with the 3 single coils, because this is a soft tail. And I'd actually like a usable trem with a single coil, so an Affinity Strat might still be on the cards, or something like that. But, you know, as far as the sound is concerned, like, there's nothing, this doesn't feel lacking in any way. Tonally, it's more in the sort of, like, primitive, like, rough around the edges Texan style, and perhaps I would prefer a sort of more, like, dynamically European clean, but, like, that the Axel does really well. So, you know, it's that's what I'm saying. It's possible to get a guitar for life for this money. It doesn't have to be, you know, these perfectly functional tools in the right hands, as I hope this fucking channel demonstrates. I hope beyond all hope. And again, with this is something that, you know, these are cropping up for not a lot of money online. All right, if you can find one, you're getting a hell of a guitar for, like, you know, the money. And at some point, these are going to catch, because, like, look at what they're doing with the Squire market. Anything that's fucking, like, laminated construction, made in Korea, and it's like 80s or 90s, and they're paying fucking real guitar money for it, which is ridiculous, you know, when you... And, but, so if you want to, like, keep sonically alongside those sort of, like, ridiculous 700 quid guitars, you can for 50 quid with stuff like, you know, what I've shown you. So yeah, like, I think this is cool as fuck. I'm gonna plug it in a minute. Got a few issues. The old Ben Master is gonna die. I'm in the process of changing the strings. Like, the block is crumbling, and a couple of bits have fallen off of it while I've worked on it. Nothing that matters, but I'm afraid I don't want to. I'm going to do as little as I can to this for as long as I can to keep it as original as I can. And yes, yeah. To answer your question, Mark, I did put strings on it, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to do them again to sort of adjust something, and I don't want to because I've got to get into this pickup, which I think the springs have disintegrated or something. When you hold it upside down, you can knock the pickup into the string. Oh no, it's not doing it now. Should I wedge it or something? I can't remember, but I was going to just use a bit of tape for the meantime. It's not doing it now, but the pickup falls forward. You have to give it some force for it to do it. Oh yeah, there we go. Yep, there we go. So it's like, yeah. See? But I think I just pushed it in and it stayed. I think the springs are rusty and are disintegrated. But yeah. So I'm thinking I need to talk to someone and maybe put together something cheap. Put together something cheap done with proper love. I think that's what the industry needs. But I will say, to my own experience, that is what I've got out of Squire. The biggest brand in the world, perhaps, like the biggest sellers that don't need any fucking free endorsement from someone like me, and I'm loath to give it, but I have to. I get every bit of pride in ownership as I would a Fender, to be honest. No joke, because they've given it enough genuine Fender touches, and they are like in league with Fender. Just a few little proper Fender touches, and they've made it feel real. I just can't speak highly enough. And the Jazzmaster's the same. I mean, I'm in awe of that guitar, to be honest. And it's whereas the Tele Deluxe is just something I bought for retail therapy. Because, to be honest, I liked how it looked. It wasn't alone in that. I picked up a lot of other guitars that I just liked how they looked. And I picked the one that played and sounded the best, and that was that. And I'm so pleased I did. It's a brand new guitar to me. I know I got it in June, but that was the best bit of retail therapy I've ever done. Because, like, you know what I said about the Orange Nitro, just picking it up and playing it puts me in a good mood, that's the same, so that's why I'm thinking there's something about two humbucker tellies. Anyway, I'm taking up way too much of your time talking shit. I want to show you this because it's a painting made of crystals. Have a look. See, it's in cling film. Can you see it's real crystals? Isn't that interesting? But yeah, I've talked enough rubbish, and it's all crap that I'm bound to get. But I can't live stream with this Kindle, the way that like Malco does on a Sunday at 8 o'clock, be there or be square. So I guess I just end up doing waffly pieces to camera with the camera weirdly in the wardrobe, like I'm some kind of weirdo.